The mainstream media's portrayal of global warming has been a topic of controversy in recent years, with some arguing that it is being used as a tool to oppress Christians. While this claim may seem far-fetched, a closer examination of the media's tactics and the underlying agendas at play reveals a more complex and nuanced reality. On the surface, the media's coverage of global warming appears to be a well-intentioned effort to raise awareness about the importance of environmental protection and the need for sustainable practices. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that the media's narrative is often laced with a subtle yet insidious bias against Christians and their values. One of the primary ways in which the media uses global warming to oppress Christians is by perpetuating a false narrative that pits environmentalism against faith. The media often portrays Christians as being anti-environmental and opposed to efforts to combat climate change, when in reality, many Christians are deeply concerned about the impact of human activity on the environment and are actively working to promote sustainability. By creating this false dichotomy, the media is able to marginalize and dismiss the perspectives of Christians, making it seem as though they are out of touch with the values of a wider culture. Furthermore, the media's obsession with global warming has led to a disturbing trend of environmental extremism, which often manifests as a form of eco-theology that is hostile to Christian values. This eco-theology, which elevates the natural world to a position of reverence and worship, is often used to justify radical policies and practices that are detrimental to human flourishing and prosperity. For example, some environmental extremists have called for drastic reductions in population growth, which would have a disproportionate impact on Christian communities that place a high value on family and children. By promoting this eco-theology, the media is able to subtly undermine Christian values and promote a secular, humanist worldview that is antithetical to the teachings of Scripture. The media's use of global warming to oppress Christians is also evident in the way that it seeks to silence and marginalize Christian voices on the issue. Christians who dare to question the prevailing narrative on global warming are often ridiculed, mocked, and dismissed as climate deniers or science skeptics. This kind of ad hominem attack is designed to intimidate and silence Christians, making it difficult for them to participate in a public debate about global warming. By excluding Christian perspectives from the conversation, the media is able to create a false sense of consensus on the issue, which is then used to justify radical policies and practices that are detrimental to Christian communities. In addition to these tactics, the media's coverage of global warming often reflects a deeper philosophical bias against Christianity. The media's emphasis on the need for human beings to save the planet and reduce their carbon footprint reflects a profoundly anthropocentric worldview, which sees human beings as the primary cause of environmental problems. This perspective is at odds with the Christian worldview, which sees human beings as created in the image of God and endowed with the unique role as stewards of the earth. By promoting this anthropocentric perspective, the media is able to undermine the Christian notion of human dignity and purpose, replacing it with the secular, humanist worldview that sees human beings as nothing more than a part of the natural environment. In conclusion, the mainstream media's use of global warming to oppress Christians is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that reflects a deeper cultural and philosophical bias against Christianity. By perpetuating a false narrative that pits environmentalism against faith, promoting environmental extremism, silencing Christian voices, and reflecting a profoundly anthropocentric worldview, the media is able to subtly yet effectively undermine Christian values and promote a secular, humanist agenda. As Christians, it is essential that we are aware of these tactics and are prepared to engage in a public debate about global warming with a clear and compelling voice, one that reflects our commitment to biblical values and our role as stewards of the earth.